Throughout most of my school days, I only had 2 to 3 close friends, the types to be drawing cartoons or talking about books in a corner of the classroom while other kids were wrestling or goofing around. And frankly, I was a little jealous of the most popular girl in class. Okay, not a little, a lot. I wondered why I couldn't joke and laugh with the cool crowd when it seemed like no effort at all to the cool girl. So in the hopes that copying her habits would make me more popular, I did exactly that. When I was in 6th grade, it was Megan, and in my third year of middle school, it was someone else. It was nothing really big, but it was all the little things. I copied her intonation of speech, watched the show she liked, tried to be the one she'd pick when the teacher told us to group in partners. I found myself sorting my friends into levels of popularity and always striving to be part of the more extroverted crowd. This continued in my first year of high school. I entered the group chat for 2B Japanese major students and tried to keep up with their conversations with literally 300 texts piling up per hour. When school started, I again tried to get with the cool crowd, the ones who had been most talkative in the group chat, the ones who had the most friends around the whole school. I was nearly paranoid about being included in every little group interaction between them and was stressed out whenever they went off somewhere without me. I was elated when they invited me to meet with them outside of school after exams were over. I gave it my best shot at seeming nonchalant and mixing like it was the most natural thing in the world. The problem was that with all my attention focused on my friendships and social life, I had absolutely no room in my head for anything else. I was obsessed over whether this girl liked me or not, whether I had said too much in that conversation the other day, and whether the cool kids going to the vending machine without me meant anything. I know, right? The vending machine. Like this, I was reading meaning in their actions when there was no meaning to be read, and this caused me excessive self-consciousness and stress. And because I spent so much time observing other people intensely and noticing the qualities that they possessed and I did not, I began to grow extremely insecure. How did that girl have such good grades? How was that girl so comfortable talking to boys? And how did that girl have such a tiny face? I know, right? I am so jealous of tiny faces. And you were supposed to laugh there. And these insecurities quickly turned into negativity towards the people I envied. How is she so chummy with boys quickly transformed into she probably enjoys all that attention, and feeling left out escalated into they're excluding me on purpose in no time. And thinking these things about other people didn't make me feel any better about myself. It only further aggravated me. And what's more, being this way all the time made it impossible for me to focus on my schoolwork. Who could focus on a homework assignment when you thought your friends were ditching you? Then one day, I got a big wake-up call. I was staring at popular girl A eating dinner at our table, and I was annoyed that she was center of the conversation yet again. Just then, another girl eyed me weirdly. Why are you looking at A like that? I still don't know what face I was making at her at the time, but my thoughts must have been plastered on my face. I felt like someone had clapped loudly right in my face. In other words, I felt like a complete idiot. The most important thing I learned was this: teenagers aren't as interested in each other as I thought. For one, I thought my friend was deliberately ignoring my messages. Nope, it just turned out that she'd read them and simply had nothing to say in response. Which leads to another conclusion. Unless you did someone a seriously nasty turn, that remark they made the other day probably doesn't mean anything at all. In fact, most of the time, people mean nothing by what they say or do. And last but not least, I learned that you have to put yourself first. Being on an emotional roller coaster is a draining experience, and prioritizing the needs of other people in this condition is the equivalent of chipping away slowly at your mental health. You won't know until it's too late. Integrating these life lessons helped me accept and appreciate myself better. The friend groups I thought were so important simply shifted as the year changed, and I learned that the perfect girls I had so admired also harbored their own hardships and worries. And I learned that people weren't going out of their way to offend me, well, except for a select few. I stopped trying to fit in with the popular kids, and ironically, it became easier to interact with them once I wasn't trying to be one of them. Don't get me wrong though, I don't want to come off like I've completely matured and overcome all of my insecurities. Trust me, I still get jealous when I see girls with small faces. But now, whenever I get these thoughts, I just go up to them and tell them outright, "Wow, you look really pretty today." And when I look in the mirror in the morning and I'm unsatisfied with how I look, I just glance one more time, shrug, and say, who cares? And surprisingly, no one notices that anything is different. Since I quit trying to be someone that I'm not, I've been able to focus better on the areas of my life that are more important to me. And if nothing, my journey in Mitchell has led me to this conclusion, this paradoxical conclusion. To be able to not care, you first have to come to terms with the fact that you do care a lot. So acknowledge your insecurities and accept them as a part of you. Admit your jealousy. Only by confronting your darkest thoughts can you begin to overcome them. There's a scene in the book that left a strong impression on me. An old man always loses to his wife at a game called Scrabble, in which you have to cross and connect letter tiles to create words. Their grandson asked his grandma how come she always manages to win, and she answers him that while his grandpa's always collecting his letters and looking to make long, grand, fancy words to win, she simply plays the cards she gets. Reflecting on it, I believe that pretty much sums up how you navigate life. Take stock of what you have and make use of your cards. They might not be the best, but then again, nobody's got it that good. Thanks for listening.